Hello, hello. All right, so while I don't totally love the weather in November, I absolutely love the holidays. Probably not for the reason you think, but I love the holidays because it's a perfect time to bake and cook, and that's my jam. So I thought I would show you. I have an Amazon store that has all kinds of kitchen products, and I have a Venable list that is more than just Amazon. It also has TikTok stuff in it and everything, so I'm actually going to elevate this a little bit so you can see me. But I thought I'd show you some of my favorite products. Okay, starting from the very, very least expensive things, these little silicone molds. These are great for when you want to make bundt cakes, but they also are great ice molds. So if you're serving fancy cocktails, this is perfect because you've got that little ring in there that's not going to take up the whole glass so we can swirl around, but they're very pretty. So pretty ice is a priority for me. And then, of course, if you're a bread baker, you have to have a bread baking kit. This one is an all-in-one baking kit. You have a bread sling for lowering and putting on a pan. You have a Danish dough whisk, which is to mix in your yeast or your starter into your water. A lame for an expansion score. A dusting brush for brushing off excess flour or doing an egg wash on pastries. You have 2 of these dough scrapers. These are wonderful, not just for baking, but for you chopping vegetables and everything else, lifting things off your counter. It's especially helpful if after you make bread, you can scrape your sink out, because if you've ever made bread, you'll know that the dough sticks and hardens and it's not fun to get out. So less scrubbing. This scrub brush is made especially for these baskets. These are called bannetons. And these bannetons are made of bamboo, and they're for holding your dough in. So after you do all your folds and after you shape your loaf, they go in a banneton. I line mine with plastic wrap because I don't like the liners that they come with, but I do use the liners to serve the bread in. So I'll take the basket, I'll put the liner back on, I'll put the fresh bread in there and bring it to the table like that. All right, so that is an all-in-one set. Excuse me. And it is the best bargain going. So if you are thinking of getting into bread baking, or you know a bread baker, get them one of these sets. I'll show you what the box looks like. It's an all-in-one set. It's a great deal because if you're buying them individually, you're going to pay a lot more. And if you know anything about me, I love a good bargain. All right, set that aside, and we're going to take a look at these. These are the olive oil sprayers, and it's a glass container. And it has a pop-up spout for pouring, and then it has a mist, so you can mist your olive oil. I particularly like that when I do breads, and I don't want to add oil to the recipe, but I don't want to have it stick to the sides of the bowl. I just mist the bowl, and that's plenty. And we have removable tart pans. Very important if you're making tarts, because then you can get the crust in and out super easy. And they come in all different designs. I have round and rectangle and square, all the different ones. Makes great recipes. And by the way, if you're not in my school community, SKOOL, to learn to bake, it is free, and I would love to have you. So underneath this live, I'm going to leave you some links to check out the products, to check out the school, and come hang with me and bake. The idea is that the more we make things back from scratch, the better things get. I don't know if you know what these are, but they're very fun. Most people call them cookie presses, and they do make great cookies and very pretty designs. This one's a snowflake and this one's a flower, but I use them on my breads. It makes gorgeous breads very simple. So you don't have to necessarily cut it out. You just press it down into the bread. You have to press pretty hard, almost till it's flat. But don't worry, it will have oven spring in, and it'll spring back up if your bread is completely ready to bake. So you do this the last minute before your expansion score. So you stamp it, and then you score it, and then you bake it, and you'll have a beautiful design on top. Likewise, if you have cookies, sugar cookie dough or short crust dough works a little better because it doesn't rise. You're going to press it in, and then you're going to cut it out. So all different kinds of ways. And it comes with a set of 4 of these. Moving on, this is one of my favorite pans. I like to make crustless cheesecakes in them, and I like to make egg bites in them. Think like Starbucks egg bites in this pan. It works great. I use a cottage cheese and egg recipe in here, and it's fantastic. The best part is it's easy to remove because you just push up from the bottom, and that brings it right out with no sticking. All right, moving on. This is my favorite stainless steel cutting board. It's got a little lip on the side so you can put it right on your countertop and it can live there, no problem. And now comes my beautiful cutting board. It is huge. It has a chalkboard on the side. It is just fabulous. It covers the whole top of my stove top, so that's where it lives. And when I'm using my stove top, I move it to the right of it and then it lives there. But it is great because I always need to chop something and cook some, when I'm cooking. And this way it can be right there, and then I just take that dough scraper and scrape it off and give it a good wash down and sanitation, and we're good to go. The great thing is that it can double as a charcuterie board, a cutting board, a display board. Sometimes when I make a lot of steaks, I put them on the board and I bring it to the board just like this. So you can have, it has a lot of uses and it's very inexpensive. I think it runs like $50 delivered. So I'm gonna put this over here so we can continue. I'm gonna show you this pink, my pink pans. This comes in a set of three pans. They have the diamond texture, and I love the color. They have the diamond texture on them so it doesn't stick. And I bought 2 sets of them, so I have like the goldish color and the pink. And they're wonderful. No more parchment paper needed, so you'll be so happy with that. Now this is from one of the companies, but I am gonna show you. This is a great one because it has a lip. So it depends on what you're baking, but I also love the USA baking pans. Now, I have baked on mine hundreds of times, so you'll see they're a little discolored, but it doesn't really matter because nothing sticks on them. That just comes from the high heat that I use it at. And I also have it in pie tins, in brownie tins. I have it in muffin tins. Let's see, where did my muffin tin go? I have it in bread tins. I have it in everything. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so if you click on my link, you'll see all these bread pans. It's the only pan I actually bake the bread in if it's gonna be a loaf. Otherwise, I go ahead and use just the pan itself and cover it up. So if you're using a Benetton, your loaf is going to be pinched up at the top, and you're gonna flip it out onto a pan and cover it. So when you cover it, you're gonna need something to cover it with, and I use these stainless steel bowls because they can handle the high heat, but they can also be a mixing bowl. So it's an all-purpose bowl, and I like things that do triple duty. Like I don't want hundreds and hundreds of things if I don't need them. I do have a lot, but I don't need more. So I hope this gives you a good idea of some of the items that I've been using to prep for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be doing a pie series coming up because pie baking this week is the thing. So I'll be making a pumpkin, I'll be making apple, pumpkin, apple, pecan, all the things, probably a lemon tart. So hopefully you'll join me each day as I bring you something new and we get to use all these fun gadgets and things. I'm gonna link below the whole store so you can take a look, get anything you might need for the holiday, and then we're gonna bake. All right, friends, have a great day. Much love.